So in this video, I'm going to walk through and show you how I convert the Redux reducer using selectors. So we're going to start off by, I'm just going to show you here, this is kind of the layout for the lifetime income chart. Now we've got these different category streams, I call them, or income streams. So for instance, Walmart income, somebody might make earnings from Walmart over 30 years. But in doing so, they're going to have different segments where they earn different amounts of money, similar to the spending, where they might be spending on their vehicle for the next 30 or 40 years, but that spending will change over time. So the huge question is, how do we capture that data, store it, and then present it in a chart like this? So I'll just kind of show you a little bit of the functionality here. In this one, I could say dental work. Oops. So this would be considered an income stream. So this person is going to be working as a dentist for however long. Then here they can add in different time periods. So say from 18 to 25, let's say that they don't make very much money as a dentist, only a few $100 a month or a year. Then in this period they make a little more. Then we could even stretch that out. And then they could do another period here. So how we're structuring the data as we look at this is each one of these segments, I'm calling it an instance. So the instance represents a time period between 18 and 25 of dental work. So the dental work is the category, and then the instance is this period of time. And so the question is, how are we going to gather this information and then present it up here in the chart? Because we have it here as a set item, and then, but on the chart, we're showing it displayed, kind of like flayed out for the user to see. So that's what we're going to walk through in this video, and I'm going to show you how I tackled this challenge. And then this will also be helpful for Tacky because it gives you an idea of the data that needs to be gathered in order to present it like this. So what I'm going to do is start by showing you how I gather the data. Now, I think what I'll do is just go straight into this. Now, the reducer, I'm just going to say income reducer, and this is an object. So this is where every time somebody adds something, so if I click this, boom, I've all of a sudden added a new item into the reducer. So my code has it set up that as soon as this button is clicked, it's going to create a new item and shove it into the reducer. Now the item looks like it's going to be an object. The object has a name, or an ID, sorry. So in this case, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. So every time I create a new item, it has this unique ID that's created for that specific one. That way, if I want to delete it, I can just delete that specific one and I don't have any issues. So I go in, I've got my ID. Now this is the new object. So the object has a label, and in this case, the label would be dental work. So all of them that are part of the category are going to have the same label. So that way it just shows up. If we go back out here, we can see dental work. So that's the label showing up. So our label will be dental work. Then, and this is kind of open in the reducer and being edited by the user using actions. So that's kind of a different topic that maybe we'll get on a little later. So then I'm also going to call it a category. In this case, it's also dental work. And I can explain a little later why I'm doing it like that. We'll have a start age. Now, one thing that's interesting, in this case, I'm just using this selector range bar like this. And so in this case, I just need one value. I don't need a bunch of other, I've got the from age and the to age and all this stuff being displayed separately from the range bar. So I don't need all those extra components to the object like I need for the mini range bar or this range bar over here. So in this one, I'm sending it, the component is getting the label and the value and everything and presenting it all as one component. Here, I just have it as one value. So basically what that means is I can just say that start age is 18 rather than before I had to go, and then I'll just say end age is 44. So before, what I had to do is create an object here that said range bar value, and this would be like 44. Then it would have the label for the specific range bar. So in this case, I'm not doing that because I have this selector. So we've got our label, category, start age, end age, But for the financial value, in this case, because it's a range bar like this piece of data has to have all the items needed for that range bar. So in this case, the items would, or the information would be, I'll say value. I'll call it maybe I'll call it income. And the income will have a range bar value. Let's just say it starts off at 22. Financial value of 12. I just made up the 22. It's totally wrong. But basically, I need to have two different values. I think I've mentioned this before. A range bar value, so that it shows this nice color sliding, as well as a financial value, which goes up logarithmically on the side here. It's also going to have a label of, what do I call this income amount. And I think that's it. So this, in this case, this is all the information that's being added for this specific item into the reducer. Now, let's say that for dental work, we have, the person comes along here, they say from 18 to 44. I'm just going to do it like this. So from 18 to 44, this is this object. This object is 1, 2, 3, 4. It says here it's from 18 to 44, and it's got its financial value, which is right there. Now, when I click 44 to 63, I've now jumped into a completely different object. But the object is related because it has the same category name or the same label as well. So when I clicked into here, we've created a totally new object, and the ID is completely different. So down here, it's not sequentially, so I'm just going to go make it a totally different ID because it's difficult to make it go up by one, and it was just too complicated. So I decided not to do that. I also like to reference the ID within the object. So I'll just put that in here. That way, if I pass it around, I can access and go into it using this entire object that's been passed to it. So let me do the same thing over here. I'm just going to go ID, boom. Okay, and then let's just add in one more. So this was from 44 to 63. So say from 44 to 63, they made 14,000. And then from 63 to 72, they made 2,000, we'll say. So let's pretend, and now these aren't connected, so this is a completely different, this already has its code, but I wanted to be able to show you what I'm doing, and then this is just a kind of an open workspace where I can see everything down here in the terminal. So what I'm doing here isn't impacting this at all. So I'm just kind of showing you what I'm doing, or why I'm doing what I'm doing using this. So let's say that this is now 2,000. So we've got these different objects. Now the problem is, I'm just going to set it to 2,000 so it's similar. It doesn't really matter. Now the problem is we've got these different objects. We've got them right here. How are we going to loop through and present all of this data like so? So this is where the selector comes in. Now, when you're building it, you're going to have the reducer page, and then you're also going to have your selector file. So in the selectors, what it's going to do is take this reducer and then do a function that's going to convert all of this data to enable it to present it like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that there's just a whole bunch of stuff in this reducer. So we've got our dental work, and the other one, let's say cuddling is their next job. They're a cuddle monster. And we'll make this as their job. So I'm going to throw in, then I'm going to make some random numbers here for the IDs. And similarly over here. Okay, so we've got the dental work and we've got the cuddling. Now I'm just going to leave these the same, but in reality, if I go back here, this kind of represents if I made something. So this is a fully new income stream called cuddling, and then each of the sub instances are represented along here. So we can change stuff, we can increase it according to that specific one. So this is what you'll probably want to be doing for the spending section, so that they can change what they think their spending will be over time. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got these two instances. or these two categories. We've got a whole bunch of different instances. How are we going to write a function that will convert it into an array? So I'm going to go const convert reducer to array. So this is a function that's going to take a reducer and it's going to convert it into an array that presents it all out like so. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to take this reducer and turn it into an array, because right now it's an object, but we can't, there's a lot of things we can't do with an object. The advantage with an object is it's really easy to add and remove things from it. It's a lot faster to do that, so that's why we like to keep things in the reducer as an object. But when we're manipulating things, we want to switch it over to an array. So in this case, I'm gonna go object.values of reducer. So what does this do? Down here, I'm going to go console log of this array. I'm going to grab the proper name right up here, put it in. Here we go, and go Command R. Oh, I need to return. Okay, so now what I did, I just converted this object into an array. Cool. So the next thing I want to do is see, let me see. I'm going to name this. I'm going to go const income streams, and I'm going to call it income streams array, so that now we know that this has now been converted to an array. And we want to see if it's greater than 0. So sometimes it gives us an issue if this is empty, and then it can cause all sorts of issues. So I like to put the if statement right away. If it's greater than 0, then we're going to do this stuff. Otherwise, just return nothing. So if I'm going to say income streams array dot length is greater than 0, then we're going to run our function, and then else it'll just automatically return, we'll just say 0. Okay. Now, I just want to make sure that I'm on the right track here. Okay, so now what I would do is I want to map through them. Now, let me see. I'm trying to look at, I've got an example of how I did it before. It took me quite a while to write this function because it's fairly complex. So I think the first thing that I want to do is organize. I want to cut out so that I just have an array with 2 different labels. So the problem is right now I've got dental work, dental work, dental work, and then I've got cuddling, cuddling, cuddling. But I want to know what are my main categories, like the key categories that over here I don't have dental work showing a whole bunch of times for each different instance. I just have it showing once. So I need to cut it down to 1. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to leave this here for now. That's going to be a little higher and a bit of a helper function, but I'm going to go let array of labels, and you know what? I think I might just take this out for now. Sorry, this is kind of confusing you, but I'm going to go let array of labels, and I'm going to use the set function. This is a fairly fancy function that's provided within JavaScript. I don't know if there's similar things in like Python and stuff, but there must be. So I want to go through the income streams array, and I'm going to map it, and then I'm going to return just the category. Then what the set does is it removes any duplicate values. So if I go return, if I'm returning what I've just built here, the array of labels, then we just get dental work. So something's wrong. Income streams array. So I want to be able to get cuddling and dental work, but I don't know why. So let's first see what the income streams array.map returning the category. So we got a whole bunch of dental work. Oh, so I didn't change the category name. I just changed the label. There we go. So now the category is also cuddling. Good to know. So then I'm going to do, back over to how I did that before, I'm going to do the set Now let's see. Okay, so now I've got dental work and cuddling. So now I've got my two arrays, which are my reduced or my limited, removed all the duplicates. So I've just got the two categories that are part of my function. So now what I want to do is I'm going to run a function. So I'm going to start a function that will be a for loop filling out my whole array. So I'm going to create a new thing called array that's just empty. Now I'm going to do my for loop. So the for loop is going through and doing one for each year. And so it's going blah, 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 and creating this entire array length, which will then be used to show our chart. So I'm going to go for let age equal, and I'll start it at 18. Most of my charts I'm starting at 18. Now one thing with yours, if you're projecting future spending, we can set it so that it receives their current age and then set it so that it starts at the current age, which is kind of nice. So that way we'll probably want to do that with yours so that they're starting, say if they're 33, they'll just be looking at their future spending. They won't have to put in their stuff from when they were 18 because nobody's going to care about that unless they do. So I'll also take out this return here. So for let age equal 18, while age is less than 95, I'm going to say less than or equal to 95. We're going to go age plus plus. Okay. So now we want to be pushing details or all the information that represents this year into that array as an object. So this is a little tricky. The catch with this, I'll show you with the console log. The data has to be set up in a specific way so that the chart can read it, and so everything has to be objects. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm just going on a different page right now, and I'm putting in a console log of the data so that we can see that. Now here, if I refresh, I have this is over here, so I'm going to just refresh it, and hopefully we'll get a console log of, I don't have it running. It'll just take me a moment. So basically what I'm trying to show you is how we're trying to structure the data. So initially we started out with the data as this object that is containing all these sub-objects, but we're trying to structure it into an array that contains objects that will then present the values that we need so that we can see it in the chart. So that's just what I'm trying to get going here, but it's pretty slow. Sorry, this is holding you up. I feel bad using up your time. Item object. Ooh. Where did I do that? On income selectors. So I'm just on the other page right now trying to figure out what did I just do. 37. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I think I fixed it. I had just deleted something mistakenly. Shoot. Oh, man. I should have pre-prepared all of this. Why? Okay, good. So we want to see the console log of the data. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, so what we're trying to do, we've got this array now. So before we started with the object, now we've converted it into this array that has this. Each one is an object. And so we've got an object, array item 0 or position 0 has these details. We need the age detail, then we need the total Walmart income, the total cuddling income, total dental work. In this case, I put these little spaces in here. I need to change that so it doesn't do that. That's kind of annoying. So what we're doing is we're looping through, pushing into the array this new object. So that's what we're trying to create over here. So this is the array. It starts off with nothing. I'm just going to call it const details, and the details will be, it has to be an object. So it's a bit tricky because we can't map through this list and return like the names. So we have to assign an object. So we have to create an object first. So I'm going to go const object. I'm going to call it item object actually. And I'm going to say age. And right now I'll say that the age is always this age up here. So as we loop through, every time item object is initialized and the age equals the age that we've got right there. Now I want to map through my labels. And so for each one of these, so for each Walmart income, say, I want to just add Walmart income and then all of the values associated with that summed up that are part of Walmart income. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go const details, and then in order to push it as an object, we're going to do object.assign. So this is a fancy function that pushes into the object the new items. Now I'm going to go into array of labels, and I'm going to map it. So I'm mapping through this array right here. I'm going to go dental work and then cuddling, and we're going to go category. So I'm just going to call it category. Now what we want to do is we want to see if this category, so if dental work, has income that's part of this year set. So say we're at age 33 in the loop right now. So we want to check and figure out, does dental work, is there income being earned at age 33? And then if there is, we want to push it into this. Otherwise, we'll just say that dental work has no income. So we need to create kind of a helper function that's going to do that. So first thing, we're going to be mapping through, and then I need to be pushing in this as the key. So Walmart income, or in this case, it would be dental work is now the key to this object. So I'm going to say category, and by putting it with these little brackets, that means that it's the key. Now I want to create a helper function that's going to give me, it's going to check to see if there's income being earned in these years, or in your case, if there's spending being done in these years. And then if there is, we're going to push it into this value. So I need to create a helper income. I'm going to call it return income. And I'm going to pass to it the income streams array. So this is the array of all the items here. So we converted it into an array. I'm going to pass it that. And then the category that we're working on. So in this case, it might be dental work or cuddling. And then the age. So we want to be able to check the age against and the category and see if in the income streams array, so if the age is 33, we're going to look at dental work and we're going to say, does this one, is this earning money between 18 and 33? If it is, we want to pass this $12,000 value. If the number 33, which we're on in this instance, isn't making money, so in this case it's not, then we're not going to pass anything. So that's what our helper function is going to be doing. Then, as it does that, it's going to go array. So I'm going to do it below. So we've created our details. We've mapped it. We're still in the for loop. And I'm going to go array.push details. So first of all, I'm just going to comment this out and just say 3. And then let's see what we get for our array. It's not liking this. Okay, so I need to make it as a object that is pushing. So let's see if that works. Yes, cool. So we have created this array. We initialized it with nothing in it. We started a for loop from age 18 to 95. We initialized an object So right here, the object has age. So each time age is going up by 1 because it's going up by 1. Then we're creating a new list, which is details. So in this case, then we're assigning it to that object. So we're going to map through our income streams array, and then we're assigning to this object. And then the key for each one is right here. So in this case, it's dental work, and then it's cuddling over there. So what we need to do is be assigning a value now into that. So we have to check and see if the given age is between those ages. So this is where our function called return income is going to come in. So I will go back to where I was before. This is where I'm going to put my if statement. And I'm going to put it up higher because typically you want to have your functions, if you're calling it, it has to come from before. I'm going to go const return income. And it's going to take the income streams array, a category, and an age. And then it will, it's going to check to see if income streams array dot length is actually long enough. So if there's something there. So if income streams array dot length is greater than 0, then we're going to check and see if the age, we're going to use the category to check if the age is within the income streams section. So just so you know, it took me a long time to write this, and I had to try all sorts of different things to figure it out. So with me writing it right now, I'm kind of cheating because I can see what I built before. So there's no way that I would be building this and just knowing what I'm doing at each step. So if I'm making it look too easy, then sorry about that. So I'm going to go, I want to return a value. So the value will be the number that's going to be either going in here or in here. So I'm going to go const array of income, and I'm going to map through the income streams. So this was just the ones that were like dental work and cuddling. So it was just an array that just said dental work and cuddling. That's it. So we're just mapping through that. And we're going to say D for each one, D, and then we're going to check to see if, in this case, because we're mapping through them, does it match the one that we're passing in down here. So we're passing in this case, we're mapping. So we're mapping through cuddling and dental down here. Then here we're also doing the same thing, and we're going to just check that they match. So D.category equals category. And then what I'm going to do is, this will be a pretty sweet little ternary operator. So if the category is the same, and then if age, so this is the age that we're passing in, is greater than or equal to the from age, D.from age, and then I'm going to go, whoops, and age is less than or equal to, oh, sorry, it's the start age. So I'm checking to see, first of all, if the name is the same. Then I'm checking to see if the age that we're looping on in our current loop is between, or in our current iteration of the loop, is between these two values, the start age and the end age. So now if age is less than D.end age, if it is, then I want you to return D.income. So go into this item, and then I want you to return the income.financial value. Else, I want nothing. So it's going to still return something, but it'll just be a 0. Then in the event, so we've got array of income now. I'm going to, oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go, so now what this looks like, actually, let's just go return array of income. We'll see what that looks like. So we've got this helper function. We're looping through down here. We're doing we're calling that function. So for each one of these, we're calling it. So we're doing a map here for each one, we're calling it. And then let's see how it looks. Okay, so now for dental work, we've got an array. So what it's done is it's gone through every instance of dental work, and it's saying, well, it's actually going through every single instance, and it's passing in if it meets all the criteria. So in this case, when the person's age is 18, it does meet the criteria. So it's equal here. So then it's passing in this value. But down over here, when their age is 63, it's not equal, so it's not passing in the value. So if I go down to 63, he's not making any money in the first parts of it, but then later he is making some money doing dental work. So where is that? That's right here, from 63 to 72. The problem is we've got these arrays. We don't want those arrays. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a math.max. And in order, whenever you do a math.max, you have to use the spread operator, which took me a long time to figure out. So now let's see what happens. Boom. Okay, is that right? Yeah, okay, it is right. It's because I just kept the numbers the same, so I didn't change anything. So let's just change this. Let's say he makes like a whole bunch of money at dental work when he's young. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So that's it. So right now what we've done is we've converted it. Now if we wanted to, this function is pretty open. So if we want to add in a new thing, actually I'm just going to make a crazy long ID here, and we're going to call this wrestling. He works as a wrestler for a little bit. Make sure that's the label and the category. I think it's a little redundant, but the problem is I need to use the category to show the item here, but then I also need the label showing at all times. So it's a bit tricky because I don't like to have them both there, but I need it in a way. So it'd be nice if I could find a workaround. Okay, so now let's see if wrestling shows up. And he does that from age 30 to 33. So just for a short period, and he makes a whole bunch of money at it. So from age 30 to 33, boom, there we go, wrestling. So what this has done is now we've got this array that's presenting out all the values, and we can see it as we go in. So if when we add new things, we can edit this, and we can change the ages, it increases, so on and so forth. So that's how we're able to do that. And this is essentially what selectors are, is we're taking the state object, which is up here, and then we're converting it down here. Now the big difference with yours, and it's up to you guys. I think if it's too difficult for you to have, so for sort of like in your case, it's not income, it's spending. So if the spending, you might have like an income spending bracket bottom, or like because their spending will be variable, so that you'll have like a bottom portion and a higher portion. So you might have to, in this section, show the lower and the higher. So that'll take a little bit of playing around. If it's too difficult for you guys to do the lower and higher of the spending, then you can just do it the same as this. I don't want you guys to spend way too much time on this, but it's good to be learning. So yeah, so I hope that this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Cool.